Very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to begin the fifth session of the English prose lecture series. At the beginning, I would like to welcome our college development committee members as well as our vice principal Dr. Madhusudan Sarnaik sir, our vice principal Dr. B.T. Pawar sir, second vice principal Dr. Vaishali Bagul ma'am, the Vice Principal of the Junior College, Dr. Vishal Sabne sir, our today's resource person, Dr. D.N. Ganjewar sir, my colleague, Dr. Ajay Deshmukh sir, and all dear participants. Today we are going to begin the fifth session of the Prose English lecture series organized by Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Shri Muktanand College, Gangapur, Department of English. At the beginning, I once again welcome all of you, and I would like to declare that today the fifth session is on The Old Man at the Bridge by Ernest Hemingway, and our today's resource person is Dr. D.N. Ganjewar, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Darur, District Bid. I would like to give the short introduction of Dr. D.N. Ganjewar. Dr. D.N. Ganjewar is an eminent literary warrior who bears the designation as Associate Professor, Research Supervisor, and the Head Department of English of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal's Art, Science, and Commerce College, Kille Dharu, District Bid. He had He had his school education in SSB High School Nanded and college education at PN College Nanded, and having PhD from Swami Ramananda Tirtha Marathwada University Nanded. He has to his credit 5 reference books as the author and 11 reference books as the editor. These books from critique on the varied text written by V.S. Naipaul, China Abe, R.K. Narayan, Doris Lessing, Kamala Das, and Rama Mehta, etc. Working as distinguished associate professor in English for the last 19 years in various colleges at Latur, Gevrai, Bid, and Kille Dharur, Dr. Ganjewar has proved to be an asset to the prestigious MSP Mandal, Aurangabad. He has successfully guided to more than 12 MPhil and 9 PhD research students and has actively participated in more than 180 state, national, and international conferences. As regards as being the supervisor, he has successfully evaluated MPhil and PhD thesis of English from India and abroad, and attended the PhD Viva research student in various universities of Maharashtra and other parts of India like Kerala, Ahmedabad, Visakhapatnam, Hyderabad, Guntur, Pundi, Chennai, Mangalore, Dehradun, etc. He is a well-known resource person, come recipient of literature in English, that is science fiction, Commonwealth literature, comparative literature, British literature, phonetics, and applied linguistics. May I request to the resource person, Dr. Ganjewar, to deliver his lecture on The Old Man at the Bridge by Ernest Hemingway. Please, Dr. D.N. Ganjewar, sir.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mandal, sir. Friends, first of all, I welcome all of you to this 1 week online student development program. At the inception, it's my prime duty to owe heartfelt gratitude towards the central management of our Honorable MSP Mandal, the College Development Committee of Shri Muktanand College, Gangapur, and the dear and honorable principal of Muktanand College, Gangapur, Principal Dr. M.N. Sarnaik sir, the honorable vice principals, Babul ma'am and Pawar sir, and our dear Department of English faculty, the head of the department, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Mandal sir, Professor Dr. Ajay Deshmukh sir, and all dear other faculty members of the college. Friends, it is my honor and a sense of happiness that our sister institute has bestowed me an opportunity is story written by Ernest Hemingway,
Hello, sir.
the American journalist come short story writer.
Hello, sir.
Ernest Hemingway is a renowned journalist, but still he has presented himself as the narrator of this story, as a reporter or as a viewer come guard in the Spanish Civil War. Friends, first of all, it is my prime duty to introduce to our audience some students as regards the introduction of the author, that is about the author. Ernest Miller Hemingway is his full name. Ernest Miller Hemingway was born in 21st July 1899 and he died in 2nd July 1961. He was an American novelist, short story writer, journalist, and a sportsman. His economical and understated style, which he termed as iceberg theory. He is known for iceberg theory, and he has strong influence of it on the 20th century English fiction. While his adventurous lifestyle and his public image rests upon several novels, 6 short story collections, and 2 works of non-fiction throughout his lifetime. Some of his other works were published posthumously. Specific to his contribution was the Pulitzer Prize in 1952 and of course the towering prize in the world as regards literature, that is the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1954. Many of his novels and short stories were considered as classics of the 20th century American literature. His major works include The Sun Also Rises, The Kansas City Star, A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and The Old Man and the Sea. Of course, it's a novel. The present text, The Old Man at the Bridge, is a short story which we understand. It also is a contribution of him as a journalist. Hemingway reported on the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s, and the following short story resulted from his experiences of the war. He also had eye-to-eye experience throughout this war, and he quoted all his experience in this short story. The narrator, of course, is the writer. He is a war scout, and he comes across a 76-year-old man, a war refugee, sitting
Sir.
exhausted. Yes, sir.
सर आवाज थोड़ा कम ज्यादा हो रहा है.
कम ज्यादा हो रहा है क्या?
हाँ सर, क्लियर नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है. क्लियर
आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है.
हाँ.
ओके, 1 मिनट. नाउ डू यू लिसन टू माय वॉइस? अभी आ रही है क्या?
हो सर, आ रही है.
I request all the participants to switch off your mic. Mr. Sheikh, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Hi, please switch off your mic.
Oh, okay sir, okay sir.
Mute yourself. Request all the delegates and participants to write. Now, Do you listen to my voice clearly? अभी आवाज आ रही है सबको?
हो सर आ रही.
Sheikh Mehtab.
Oh, yes sir.
Okay. Yeah, mute yourself, please. Now, come to the point. I talked about the 76-year-old man who is the another person in the story, and the first one is the narrator who is a war scout. He just sees how the situation is going on and how the enemies are encompassing the motherland of the people. One of them is being the 76-year-old man. I would like to tell you the things that it is, of course, a civil war. It means a war that is fought among the people of the same country. And you will find that Spain at that time was facing Spanish Civil War in 1936 to 1939. Actually, Soviet Union were trying their best to instigate this war, and you will find that in this time, 1936 to 1939, the localite people or the people from Spain, they were going from one place to another just because of the fear of the enemy that will attack them. You will find that there were two parties existing at that time. One was Nationalist Party, another was Republican Party. Nationalist Party was headed by Hitler and others, Mussolini like that. Another party was headed by other countries, European countries. I would like to mention it here that in this civil war, whatever the narrator witnessed, it is mentioned in the story. This is what we should understand. Again, the theme of the story is about the refugee, the helplessness of the refugee, and compassion towards the animals, compassion towards the motherland, and the helplessness of the impending danger of the forthcoming civil war. That is what we should see throughout the story. The story is very brief, but it gives us the touching concern for the animals the old man cared for, and the approaching fascist and Nazi army, and the near certainty of that awaits the old man, give the story of a fatalist undertaken or undertone. Friends, you will find that it is the story witnessed by the narrator come the author, and there is only one person. All people have left their motherland, and one person who is submissive, who is helpless, and who is old. He cannot go beyond the bridge. He remains at the bridge, and the bridge symbolizes nothing but that of the native people. If they do not cross the bridge, they will certainly face death by the enemies. This is what the writer says. So friends, without making any more delay, let me get into the detail of the text. The text is about 2.5 pages, and it takes us directly to the old man. Before starting the discussion upon the text, I would like to tell you few difficult words which you will find while going or while reading throughout the text. The first word which I would like to say is that pontoon bridge. Pontoon bridge means a temporary bridge built upon the river. It is a temporary floating bridge. It is not a bridge of concrete or bars. It is a temporary bridge that is called pontoon bridge. Another difficult word is spokes. Spokes means rods that join the edge of a wheel. Actually, these wheels are attached, or upon these wheels there are big guns. Big guns means nothing that we call in Hindi or Marathi tof. Tofa हम कहते हैं उसको तोफ कहते हैं. That is called big guns. And plod, there is another word, plod, Plod. It means walking through slow steps. That is called plodding. Another word is there, bridgehead. Bridgehead means a place from where we can see the activities of the enemy. that is bridgehead. There is, upon this bridge, there is bridgehead from where our journalist come witnesser or journalist come narrator sees how the enemies have approached them, or at what point the enemies are there, or a position that the army takes to attack the enemy more effectively. That is also called as bridgehead. There is another word, artillery. Artillery is nothing but that we call tof. These are very large guns that are moved on wheels or tracks. In Mughal Empire period also we find so many artilleries. We also have artilleries of the sword of Tipu Sultan in that era. Artillery means big guns or tof, very large guns that are moved on wheels. They are called artillery. There is one word, unquiet. Unquiet means troubled, suffered, anxious. That is called unquiet. We also know the word here, fascist. Fascist, the fascist army of Mussolini, the Nazis, made by Hitler. All this we know very well. In the Second World War or in the Spanish World War, these were existing at that time. Fascist is someone who supports fascism. He is the stringent follower of fascism. It is a political system based on a very powerful leader, state control, and extreme pride in one's own country or race. You will find that if any dictator emerges at that time, simply we call that he is a fascist. Fascist means a person who normally do not listen to anybody and who considers himself as the great leader of the country or great leader of the world. He thinks that entire state control should be in his hand and nobody should interfere in his matter. That is called fascist. Again, overcast. Overcast, there is another word. Overcast means nothing but cloudy. There are therefore not bright or sunny. Suppose today's environment is overcast. It is cloudy today in our area, right? So let us come to the text of this story. Before going into the text, let me tell you frankly that there are only two persons throughout the story and few animals. Who are the two persons? First one is the narrator. He is a soldier from the native land of Spain, and Spain is facing a civil war. Civil war means war among the people with different views, different party views. Suppose I ask you today, which party is stronger in our country, India? You will find that there are so many people who are divided into two views, two parties. But if you go before 30 or 40 years, you will find that India had only one party. But today we have two national parties. And when we ask people about their views, which they like most, you will find that people are in fragments. Sometimes people do not speak by fear of getting disturbed or getting disturbed by the other community or other party leaders or followers. So there are few persons who think that they do not belong to any party. That is called merely civilian. Our old man is like that. He is merely a civilian. When we read the story at that time, when the narrator asks him which party did he belong, he says that I do not belong to any party. This is very remarkable thing for the old man and a mere helpless person in that arena of war. So it is very clear that there are two persons. One is an old man of 76 years and another is the narrator who takes care of the people of the motherland of Spain and who rescues them from the hazards of this Spanish Civil War. So let me get into the detail. The story starts with the information that an old man with steel-rimmed spectacles, an old man with steel-rimmed spectacles. Of course, the old man has spectacles, and the spectacles, a pair of spectacles has steel-rimmed, and he wore dusty clothes, and he sat on the side of the road. At that time, what happens? The narrator tells us that there was a pontoon bridge across the river. Carts, trucks, and men, women, and children were crossing it. all the refugees were crossing that temporary bridge, that pontoon bridge, and going into the safe area, whereas there is only one person, that is the old man, who is helpless and who do not want to leave his cattle, who do not want to leave his pet animals there, and he wanted to go along with the pet animals, but he couldn't do that, and that is why he remained there. Again, the scenario of the mule-drawn carts. What is the mule? Mule means offspring of donkey and horse. That is called mule. The mules were used to draw the carts from from taking one place to another, and that is what the writer tells us. And there were soldiers. The soldiers of the native land were helping to push the carts from spokes of the wheels from one place to another. The big guns were very heavy, and because of the temporary bridge, pontoon bridge, it was very difficult to take the big guns swiftly. That is why the soldiers were helping by pushing the spokes of the wheels. The trucks ground up and away, heading out of it all, and the peasants plodded along in the ankle-deep dust. The old man sat there without moving. The children, the women, the men, all the refugees were leaving that land, but it was the only one person, that is the old man, who was not moving to go along with them. He was immovable. He was too tired to go any farther. It was my business to cross the bridge, said the narrator. The narrator came to him, the narrator approached him, and the narrator told him that, "Oh man, why have you stayed here? Why don't you go and cross the bridge? Why don't you return to the safe place?" There were not so many carts now and very few people on foot, but the old man was still there. He approached him and he asked the old man. There is the conversation in between the narrator and the old man. "Where do you come from?" I asked him. The narrator says, "I asked the old man, where did you come from? Where do you come from?" At that time, the old man answered, "San Carlos." He came from San Carlos. It was his native place. And he smiled. He smiled means he was very confident about his native land, and he was very proud of his motherland. And he said that, "I came from the San Carlos place or San Carlos city. I was taking care of animals," he explained. And I said, not quite understanding. "Yeah," he said, "I stayed, you see, taking care of animals. I was the last one to leave to the town of San Carlos." The old man also retorted that he was the last person to leave the city of San Carlos, to leave the place of San Carlos. All people from that land, they left the land, they left the city, and he was nor the shepherd, he was nor the herdsman. Still, he had his black dusty clothes, and all clothes were grey, dusty face along with dusty face, and he still dreamed spectacles and say what animals were there. Actually, the narrator wanted to ask him why did he take care of the animals, why he didn't relinquish the animals. He said that though he was not a shepherd, though he was not a herdsman, still he cared, he was very anxious as regards the safety of the animals. And in these animals, he said that there were various animals and I had to leave them all. And that is the point of my grief, that is the point of my sadness. I was watching the bridge and the African looking country of the Ebro Delta and wondering how long now it would be before we would see the enemy. Actually, the narrator makes him frightened that the enemies are approaching, and why are you wasting your time to remain here, and why are you just inviting the enemies to come and finish you? Why don't you go from this bridge and get into a safe place? This is what is the mere actually wish of the narrator. Here we should understand the fact that though the narrator wants the old person to go or cross the bridge and be in a safe place, the old man the old man does not want to leave that place, and he tells other things to the narrator. There were 3 animals altogether for whom the old man cared a lot. There were 2 goats, 2 बकरियां थी, and 1 cat, एक बिल्ली थी, and there were 4 pairs of pigeons, और कबूतर के 4 pairs थे, 8 कबूतर थे. All these animals, what I think here is that these are the tame animals. Cat can take the refuge on her own or on its own. 2 goats, they couldn't take the refuge, and they were definitely going to be killed. And pigeons also can on their own they can fly away, but he was very much cared for the 2 goats and these other animals, and you had to leave them. Asked actually at that time, because of the artillery, the captain told me to go because of the artillery. The narrator says that he came due to the safety of the artillery, and that is why he is there. Actually, the narrator asks the old man, where is your family? At that time, the old man says he does not have any family, and no, he said, only the animals I had, and the cat, of course, will be all right. A cat can look out for itself, but I cannot think that will become of the others. What politics have you? Asked the narrator. After this, the narrator asks the old man, which party do you belong to? What is your membership of the political system? He says at that time, I am 76 years old and I have come 12 kilometers now, and I think now I can go no further. I have no politics, definitely. I do not want to be a member of either party. He says, I am without politics and I am 76 years old, and at this age I traveled 12 kilometers from Sans Carlos, and now I cannot move further. This is what he says, and I think now I can go no further. This is not a good place to stop. I know it very well. Upon the narrator's information, he says that I know, though this place is nothing but a dangerous one, but I cannot move further. It is my helplessness and it is my care towards the animals. I cannot move forward. I will wait a while, he said, and then I will go. Where do the trucks go? Where are these trucks being taken? This is what he says. Towards Barcelona, said the narrator. I know no one in that direction, but I have not a single person with well identity from Barcelona. That is why I cannot go in these trucks. I cannot go by sitting in this truck. But thank you very much. Thanks for your asking me a lot. This is what the old man tells him as regards the narrator's wishes. He looked at me very blankly and tiredly, then said, having to share his worry with someone, the cat will be all right. When the narrator tells him that the cat is an animal which will definitely be all right, it will not come in anybody's hand. But what about the other animals? Definitely 2 goats are the meek animals which will face the hazards. This is what he says. Now, why they'll be probably thought it all right. You think so? Why not? I said, watching the far bank where now there were no carts. All carts were being taken there into the safety. The artilleries were also being taken into the safety. But the only one thing that is remained here at the bridge is the meek, helpless old man. But what they do under the artillery, when I was told to leave because of the artillery. Did you leave the door cage unlocked? I asked. The narrator deliberately asks the old man, whether have you left the cage uncaged, unlocked? Have you opened the lock of the cage by which the pigeons will fly away? At that time, the old man says, yes, I did that. Then they will fly. Yes, certainly they will fly, but the others, it is better not to think about the others. See that the cat will be in a safe position. The pigeons also will be in the safe position, but I think too much. I am very anxious as regards the safety of the two goats. This is what he says. I am very anxious towards the safety of the goats. Yes, certainly they will fly, but the others, it is better not to think about the others. If you are rested, I would go. If you are rested, I will go. If you are rested, I will go. This is what he says. They will fly. If you are rested, I would go. I was get up and try to walk away. Thank you. B, he said, and got to his feet, swayed from side to side, and then sat down backwards into the dust. I was taking care of animals.
Sir, just a minute, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Please.
Please change the mode of your mobile. You are not looking in straight way.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it okay, sir?
Yeah. मोबाईल फिरवा तुमचा थोडासा सर.
आता ठीक आहे.
नाही मोबाईल फिरवा थोडा आडवा करा बरं.
आता
हा राईट ओके let us continue.
Okay, thank you, sir. So this is again the thing which we should understand, that the old man is the symbol of helpless people, old people in the country of Spain. Spain is facing civil war, and other European countries were divided into two platoons. The one was being headed by fascists and Nazis like Hitler and Mussolini, and the others were headed by England and other countries. They were the Republicans. And Spain was facing the troubles given by Soviet Union and other countries. At that time, the natives fled away. All people went away. But it is a question made by the old man, where should we go like old people and helpless people, and where should the meek animals go? They will definitely be crucified. They will definitely be killed by these atrocious people, atrocious leaders, so atrocious enemies. This is what is the theme of this short story. Again, it is said that the old man cared much about animals. The symbol behind the animals, specifically the two goats, is nothing but the old, helpless people, old people, helpless people of Spain, women of Spain, and those who could not move from one place to another. Perhaps they may be the caterpillars, perhaps they may be the people who take care of cattle, they may be farmers, perhaps they may be wagers who had little cattle with them, and where should they go? It is a dangerous situation, and in this dangerous situation, they were not supported by any person, any state, any country at that time, and that is why the narrator very succinctly and very carefully imbibes the picture here of the Spanish Civil War, and there was nothing to do about him. It was Easter Sunday. The day which is mentioned here at the end of the story is the Easter Sunday, and the fascists were advancing toward the Ebro. Ebro is the name of the place which is very on the verge of Spain, and Ebro, the place Ebro was already being taken by fascists, and fascists were trying their best to catch also the Spain. And it was a grey overcast day with a low ceiling, so their planes were not up. Actually, due to the cloudy atmosphere, the fascists did not move their planes, and they had their army on the land, and they sent the army to catch that country. And the fact that the cats know how to look after themselves. The cats, again, the pigeons, they could look after themselves because they had the swiftness from moving one place to another. But this is not the case with the old people. Old people had very bad luck. Though they are trustworthy, though they are truthful, though they are the real followers of their country, they are the definitely the persons with their nationality, and they are the devotionalist, everything, but still they couldn't move anywhere because of the helplessness at that age. This is what the short story writer Ernest Hemingway tries his best to talk upon this. So friends, though I have put in front of you few points of the text, first thing which we should understand is that Ernest Hemingway, though was a short story writer and journalist, he put himself as the narrator of the Spanish Civil War, and he mentions the few things which were very dangerous towards the meek and weak people of old people of Spain. So this is the central idea of this short story. And the one thing which I would like to tell you here is that the animals are nothing but they are the symbols. Those those people who were like the cats of the country, they could run away and they could intermingle with the thoughts of anybody. Whereas the pigeons, those people who couldn't mingle with the thoughts of the fascist, they will fly away. But those who couldn't fly, those who could not mingle with the thoughts of the other party, where should they go? This is what is the case, which is shown throughout this the story, The Old Man at the Bridge. Friends, it is my observation that sometimes the good civilian of any country, they do not want to join any party, national or state party, but they are good human beings. They are good old human beings. They are the real trustworthy or real good people of the country. They are the good civilians. But in such dangerous situation, they some people like pigeons, they will fly away if they have their caliber, if they have their sources, if they have their places, if they have the different sources, they can go anywhere, like the pigeons mentioned in this story. Few people are there. There are some people who are like the old man, which is shown here at the bridge. The bridge is nothing but the symbol of death. Bridge is nothing but he is on the verge of death. If he do not move from that bridge, he will definitely be killed by the soldiers from the enemy's party. Again, you will find that the old people are nothing but the two goats which are mentioned in the animals, which are mentioned in this story, which are mentioned in the list of the animals. And these two goats are nothing but the meek, weak, old people, old women, old children, and all those who are helpless to leave their country. This is what we should again understand. Again, the writer has categorized the people of Spain in three categories of the animals. That is two goats, that is helpless people like the old man, and cats, that is people who cannot understand the theory of the fascist. They will fly away from Spain to England or Spain to anywhere. They may join the Republicans after the Spanish Civil War, or they may join the country. They may return to the country after everything is being at peace or everything is at rest. Again, there are people who are like the two goats. They will definitely be killed, and that is the question of the narrator, question of the writer. Where should these true people of the land go in such a dangerous situation? This is what we should understand. Again, there are few things, there are few places which are mentioned here in the story. That is San Carlos, again Ebro, Ebro Delta. These are the places which are mentioned here in the story. There are few things which I mentioned you in the difficult words of the text. That is Quantum Breach, that is artillery.
वो अपना क्या रह गया फेल गया
Sheikh, please mute your Sheikh. Please mute yourself. So these are the things which we should understand. And again, here the narrator of the story, he tries his best, though he has a word to understand everything, situation of the war, and understand the position or perceive the position of the enemies, and tell the native people that they should leave the land as early as possible, otherwise they will be killed by the enemies. Again, here you will find that the old man is definitely nothing but the sad plight mentioned by the meek, weak, and true civilians. This is what we should understand. Again, there is the symbol of dove, D-O-V-E. Dove, that is pigeons. So dove reflects definitely, dove symbolizes good people, but because of the fascist stringent theory going to be encompassed to that country, they helplessly, because of the sound position, they leave the country and they go from one country to another. When the situations will be patched up, at that time they may return to their country. This is again which is mentioned here in this story. Again, there is also a mention of fascist. You'll find that before reading the story, if you haphazardly read the story, you'll not understand what the story really implies. But if you know the background, the Spanish Civil War was fought in 1936 to 1939. These 3 to 4 years were very important. At that time, the entire world is going to be uh, uh, caught by the thought of fascist and Nazis. Hitler and Mussolini and their followers or the following leaders, they were trying their best to grab all the countries of the world with their thought. After a few days, we know very well that the Second World War came to end with the Republicans, and America and other countries, they had their continuity of the thought, and they won the war, and afterwards they could rule the land successively. Here, one thing is that the rest of the life of the old man is mentioned in the story, and all the injuries, all the pains that the old man had, these also were mentioned very strongly, focusedly in this story. And what about the writer's views? Is he on the fascist side, or is he on the side of the old man? Definitely, it is mentioned that the writer is also on the side of the old man. He is not on the side of the fascists or the Nazis. This is what which we should understand throughout the story. The writer definitely says that what was going on as regards the old man and the pigeons and the cats and the two goats, definitely it was not a good one. This is again which we should understand. And again, here at one point, it is mentioned that I was watching the breach and the African looking country of the Ebro Delta and wondering how long now it would be before we would see the enemy. It means even the African countries nearby, they were also under danger whether the enemies, that is fascist and Nazis, they were encompass all the land in that European and African continent. This was a fear which was there and which is signalized in the mind of the narrator and that of the old man. This is again, I think I have tried my best to give you the entire idea as regards Ernest Hemingway, as regards the text of the Old Man and the Breach, and there are a few symbols. I also told you the theme of the story. That is, again, I would like to tell you that the theme of the story is nothing but the helplessness of the old man, that is, the meek and helpless people of the land of Spain. This is again which we should understand, and it is mentioned by the character of the old man. So all these things, I think it is better to understand at the BA or B.Sc second year level. If you go through the other things of the story, you'll find that all the things are definitely related to the life of our writer Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway had a well experience in the Second World War, and specifically Spanish Civil War. This is what is mentioned throughout the story. So, with this, so Professor Bandal sir, are there
Yeah,
any
yeah.
questions? Are there any questions from the
No, I have
participant
seen
side? Please
that
tell me.
chat box. There is no question, but we have decided that we
Yeah.
have asked students to raise their questions through WhatsApp group, and we will answer separately in the last session. We will call all of the resource person at the 18th, and they will answer the questions if the student have any kind of questions regarding these topics. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So, thank you, sir. Bandal sir, shall I conclude?
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Once again, with a a brief of two sentences. May I express my sense of gratitude towards the Honorable President of MSP Mandal, Prakash Dada Solanke Sahib, Honorable Secretary of MSP Mandal, Honorable Shri Satish Bhau Chauhan, Honorable CDC Chief of the Gangapur College, Gangapur, Honorable Advocate Manar Sahib, Honorable Principal of Muktanand College, Professor Principal Dr. Sarnaik Sir, Vice Principals Bagul Marathwada Sir, and my dear and respected Head of the Department of Shri Muktanand College, Gangapur, Department of English, that is Professor Dr. V.S. Bandal Sir, Vijay Kumar Bandal Sir, and my dear colleague, Professor Dr. Deshmukh Sir, and all my dear friends from that college, along with these participants of the student development program. Friends, once again, hats up to you. Thank you very much, Bandal Sir. Thanks again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Bandal Sir, please
Ganjawar sir.
continue.
Ganjawar sir, lot of
Ganjawar
thanks
sir,
to
please,
you.
sir, our principal is talking. Hello, Ganjawar sir.
I hope that he has stopped.
Stop. Right, sir.
His
Thank you,
his
sir.
uh, his mic is not proper share.
On. Okay.
Okay. Uh, Bandal sir,
Okay.
I think somebody has raised the hand, Khan or somebody. Can you ask what is the question or what he want to talk?
Mm-hmm.
Khan is here. You can unmute, Mr. Khan.
Mr. Khan, you can unmute and ask your question or your query. Khan, have you listening my voice?
Okay, you can conclude, sir.
Okay, okay. Sir, Dr. Ganjawar sir has given a nice presentation on the old man at the bridge by Ernest Hemingway. He has told us that the short story is related about the civil war and the civil war took place between 1936 to 1939. That those people who were civilian, poor people, represented the country and they love their country and they are not ready to go any party and the writer Ernest Hemingway has presented their two dogs, cat and four pair of pigeons. All these say pet animals represents the weak, poor, but the people who love their country, they are not say taking any side of the party. At the same time, there was the war between fascist and the other countries, and the pacifists were not going to listen anybody's opinion. They were the dictator, and dictator is always work for the sake of country. Many people of the world always say repose to this dictator. I have given the dear participants, if they have any questions, they may raise these questions with the group we have created in WhatsApp group, and these questions will be answered in the 18th June 2021 at the last and final session. All the receipts will be available for the questions. With this, I would like to conclude, and that I may like to request Dr. Ajay to express note of thanks. Dr. Ajay, please.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Dr. Ajay. Hello. Hello. Dr. Ajay, please. Hello, Ajay. Hello, Dr. Ajay.
बांदल सर, आवाज येतोय का
या
त्यांना?
हा
सर
येत
आहेत का?
आहेत सर
अजय
आहेत.
हा.
अजय देशमुख सर, डॉक्टर अजय देशमुख सर, प्लीज.
सर बोला, प्लीज कंटिन्यू सर.
ओके. I would like to express sincere thanks to my colleague, Dr. D.N. Ganjevar, who had been my colleague in RVTL Art, Science and Commerce College, Gevrai. Sir has given very nice presentation on the old man at the bridge. Once again, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. D.N. Ganjevar, our principal Dr. Madhusudan Sarnai, Vice Principal Dr. B.T. Pawar and Dr. Vaishali Babul ma'am, my colleague Dr. Ajay Deshmukh sir, and all the dear participants. With the permission of our principal, I would like to conclude this session. Once again, I would like to declare that the next session will be on 14th June 2021, and there will be the session on poetry, poetry, five poems, and first session will be delivered by Dr. Nanda Deshmukh from Devgiri College, Aurangabad. We will meet at the same time on 14th June 2021. Till we have all of you have a good day. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.